Namaste and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sathology Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth, Logos means a study or science, Sathology means science of truth, study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology. Myth means a fake lie, imagination, Sanskrit root word from word many other words come. Mythology means a study or science of fake lie or imagination. It's an irony that the Western academics use the word mythology freely for all the ancient cultures of the world, but they have never studied their own history. When we talk about Abrahamic history, a lot of mythology is built in, but nobody talks about it. Why? Because they want to hide it. And we, the people from the native cultures, we are not quacking loud enough to question them. And that's what we are doing here. We're trying to question why they don't use the word mythology for their own history. So without delay, I have a very, very special guest, Vice Chancellor of Atal Bihari Vajpayee University, Chhattisgarh. He is a very renowned economist and is a person who is setting an example in terms of new innovative ideas for his own university. And so without delay, let us welcome Professor ADN Vajpayee.
Thank you. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you very much.
So today we have a very interesting topic, from Sanskar to Sanskriti. Now, the Sanskrit meaning of Sanskar is experience, and that's what we talk about, good experience. So why do you think that the Sanskriti gets protected through Sanskar?
Should I answer? But
Yes.
it's very small question, Aditya. No? I was expecting it's a big question, a long question as usual. Anyhow, you see that Sanskar and Sanskriti both go together. Actually, Sanskar is the abstract concept as such, which we can use so many things as such. It becomes a dharma somewhere, it becomes a value system somewhere, it becomes a ritual somewhere, it becomes tradition somewhere, it becomes festival somewhere. So you cannot say that this is sanskar. It's a complete, life as such, which we call it is sanskar. And just before putting a question to me, you say that sanskar means experience. It's not experience. It's a realization in totality. Complete realization. It's not realization of body, mind, or intellect. It's a realization of soul. When soul realizes anything and gets manifested in different forms of its behavior, worldly behavior, we can call it a sanskarvan, or person is a good person. Actually, the literal meaning of sanskar, we should just go, because you are a great, grammarian. You work on different roots of the words as such. The root is kr, means to do, to work as such. And sans is to purify. Sanskar means purification of your deeds as such. Keep on purifying. If you are just purifying your deeds, you are purifying your words, you are purifying your behavior, you are just converting, you are just bringing sanskars to everything. Now, what is natural as such? So in Sanskrit, we are having three words. One is prakriti, another is vikrati, and third is sanskriti. Prakriti means natural order, as nature goddess has given to us. There are certain instincts. There is instinct of hunger, there is instinct of sleep, instinct of fear, and instinct of sex. There is four instincts which are dominating our behavior. And Shloka says, I think I must have quoted earlier also in your shows, Ahara Nidra Bhay Maithunancha Saman Etad Pashvin Naranam Tesham Eko Dharmo Vishesho Dharmo Hi Tesham Eko Vishesho Dharme Hena Pashui Samana. Mean these instincts are the same in the natural world and in the human beings also. But from human beings, it is expected much to do. They cannot say behave as animals do in their lives, or trees do, or rivers do, or mountains do. They are expected to be socialized, to be cultured, to convert, that natural instincts into, a cultural one. The sanskars are the essential components. And Aditya, please permit me to quote another shloka, Ardhanjali of Shloka. It is just it has come to my mind right now. And Shloka says like that, Janmat Jayate Shudra. You'll appreciate Aditya. Janmat Jayate Shudra Sanskarat Duj Muchate. From birth, everybody is Shudra, means everybody is natural or baser person as such. And from sanskars, Duj means a superior. From this inferior person to superior person, these are the sanskars only. Sanskar is complete purification process only. And then it is converted into Sanskriti. Sanskriti means a cultured behavioral form, subtle form, which connects different parts of the body to each other, that is Sanskrit, which integrates individual with the society, with the family, and not only society, family, but total nature, total environment. And all the rules set to integrate, persons within and persons outside is our Sanskriti. Sanskrit complete, value system as such. So, sanskars are essential components to culture, and culture too has got its own meaning. My brother was a professor of chemistry, and he would say, this compound should be cultured, this compound should be cultured. And I know so many biotechnologies, they too want to see culture different plants, different seeds to be cultured. Cultured means their complete characterization and defective parts should be removed and good parts should be improved, increased by some exogenous method, that is culture in modern technology terms as such. In our culture, there are certain value systems, there are some rules, there are certain methods through which we want to convert Prakriti into Sanskriti through process of these sanskaras, so that these vikars, the deformities, doesn't enter into the minds of the individual. Before I close this answer, big answer, I would like just give one example. Nature, Vikrati, Prakriti, Vikrati and Sanskriti. Prakriti is that live and let others live. Live and let others live. That is Prakriti. Isn't it? Live for others, live on others. There are certain parasites. They live on others. That is Vikriti. And if you live for others, that is Sanskriti. That is Sanskriti. Or we are earning and we are eating. It's natural order. What's harm in it? We are earning, eating. And suppose if you are eating at the cost of others earning, that is Vikrati. But at the same time, you are feeding others by your own earnings. That is Sanskriti. This is how our Sanskriti has taken a shape for long years, from ages together. And you know it is much better than anybody on earth. I can say that what legacy of culture we are having. Other thing will come after your question. Aditya.
The 16 samskaras, sola samskar is there, beginning with Garbhadan. And it has become a fashion amongst Americans now, not just Indians. It's a fashion amongst Americans. Like if you go to a community here, and I live in a place where all of these things are discussed a lot. It's a very academic town, in a way, research-oriented town. Now here we talk about Garbhadan Samskar, and the last is Antim Sanskar. So, what is the purpose of these samskara? You explained already, but what is the main purpose of these individual samskara? Garbhadan, Vivaha samskar, and the last one is Antim sanskar. But before that, so many other samskaras, small samskaras are there. Like for the child is ready to go to education, there is sanskar needed. So people are rejecting it as superstitions. Should they even talk like superstitions, or they reject it as mythology or backward talk? So how modern are the samskar for a human mind?
Yes, very good question. I think that I deliberately left because I want to know that you'll ask this question. Actually, there are 16 sanskaras, and some you see, our own epics tell about 64 sanskaras.
Chaussat, yes.
That too is there. But Manu believes in 16, 16 sanskaron ki he has talked about. Sanskaras, I told you, deliberately performing a particular job with a purpose. With a purpose. If you are leaving everything to the natural forces, you know that animals also conceive. They have got their own order. And today also there are a lot of conceptions are being seen. But there is no process, deliberately choice of child as such. What type of child you require? What type of progeny you are going to procreate by this process? So there is also one sanskaras, then Garbhadan. First of all, you see, there is a choice of time, there is a choice of place, there is a choice of muhurt as such, and also with full deliberate choices, husband and wives both meet each other with the purpose of having a good child as such. That is also one. First time. Then sooner they come to know that conception has been made, that wife has conceived, they will go for Garbhadan sanskar. And somewhere at the 3rd month or afterwards, the 7th month of the when fetus is ready, so they are being worshipped. That lady is worshipped virtually because she is conceiving. She is going to produce a child for the family, which is who is going to inherit all cultures of the society, all values of society, who is going to take entire responsibility of the family as such. So that lady must be worshipped. All worshipped. All sweets are being offered, saris, and entire family comes to her. Here is a question. You see, that lady knows that he is the father. Father knows that conception is made through me. Both are his own responsibility. And by that Garbhadan sanskars, you'll find that entire family, entire society come to know that this lady has conceived. There is no position of concealing as such. So when that lady is being worshipped, she becomes happy. And more these ladies happier, more the pregnant ladies happier, better healthy child will come from. And there also ladies are to perform so many good activities of reading, writing, sleeping, everything, because they know that fetus has got soul in it, and soul has got its own connectivity with the outside world also. And Manu, that story of the Aditya, that story of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu learned so many things of breaking the Chakravyuh when he was in the womb of his mother Subhadra. So that's all you see known as it. When you see child takes birth, there's so many you see deformities. There's so many impurities there in the fetus. So how those impurities are purified with mantras and everything, that is Janma Sanskar. Then Namakaran, just to make the people, is a boy or a girl, a name should be given. Name is not merely the outside name. Name is to be taken by the Rashi, at which time you see she or he has taken birth. So that Rashi Nam and outer world name, worldly name is also given to that. That is Namkaran. Sooner things you see begin. Then comes the Upanayan. Now here is the boy should be sent to the schools, to the Gurukul, to the teacher as a. So with a sanskar, with a focused idea, that person is sent to the schools. Which type of a school, which type of training, which type of a skill are to perform by that. Real entire counseling was there. Guru Mantra was given to that particular boy, and he was sent for studies up to 25 years. We are all receive Varnashram Vyavastha. Within Ashram Vyavastha, up to 25 years, he was made brahmacharya, complete celibacy. Afterwards, he enters into the Panigrahan Sanskar, the Vivaha Sanskar, one of the most important sanskaras. So that to make public, here is the boy, here is the girl. Everybody should come to know. It is to proclaim. There is no contract, there is no written contract as such before you see any court of law. It is the court of the society as a whole. Society by and large as there you see so many persons. The Pandit comes, the priest comes, or family members of both sides come. There are a lot of exchanges. Exchange of richnesses are also there. So that is Panigraha Sanskar is one of the most important reasons. Things you see keep on going. And as to connect the legacy, as well before the birth, there are two sanskaras. Similarly, after the death, there are three sanskaras. Three sanskaras mean when person dies. So the heirs of that body, maybe son or the grandson, goes for antim sanskaras. In a similar manner, all family members are being invited. So if had there been any responsibility bestowed to that particular soul, that should be shouldered by the boys and girls. Then comes Dashagatra Sanskar. After 10th day, that is known as Shuddha Sanskar. Shuddha Sanskar, the purification, which I have connected. I told you that Sanskaras means a purification. Purification with a purpose, with an objective. On 10th day, there is Shuddhi Sanskar, a Shuddhi of the body itself. Is all hairs are removed. People go for removing of all hairs. And on 13th day, there is a mixing up, because when soul goes away, soul has got so many connections with the family members. Soul wants to invite all the persons nearby. Soul wants to see what people are thinking about is them. On 13th day, everybody, all the family members come, all the friends come, they join hands, they take food together, and then say, okay, after 1 year, Varshila. But it's simple as a chain of sanskars. Sanskars means deliberately relieving a choice for one particular thing, one with a purpose. Third, keep on purifying the body, purifying the mind, and ultimately purification of the soul is the ultimate objective of sanskaras, and then only we become that is transformed into Sanskriti. Sanskaras are invariably indispensable, integral part of our Sanskriti. Without sanskaras, we cannot think of Sanskriti as a. Sanskaras sometimes people translate, make it equal to DNA. DNA is not sanskara, but DNA you cannot culture. Sanskar culture university. Sanskaras are mainly responsible. They can even purify your DNA also. If impurity is there in a DNA, that too can be purified by sanskaras, and our yogis and rishis have been doing like that. Because moksha is the ultimate, purified soul which goes and mixes with the Paramatma. That is possible through only sanskaras. I think Aditya.
One of the very important things that you just said is
Yeah.
karma, in the shloka that you quoted, karma.
Yes.
Because in Bhagavad Gita, one deals with 5 subject matters, and one of them is karma. And you rightly said that DNA is just a chemical composition, doesn't mean anything. And in our culture, Gotra is a very scientific genetic component, we say, in terms of Gotra. But in terms of samskara, or the training of the scientific training of a human, so that he goes towards the ultimate goal of life, which you also mentioned, the moksha. So some people call it the rituals. Is ritual the right word to call samskara?
No, no. Neither rituals, nor traditions, nor festivals, nothing. They cannot equate sanskaras, but they are integral parts of the sanskaras as such. Sanskaras gets manifested through rituals, through traditions, through festivals, because when anything gets purified, it becomes as happy. So how to celebrate his happiness? All these are the festivals. Festivals is just celebration of happiness, and happiness comes when there is purification of body, mind, or soul, like that. Traditions are very much important. Traditions are the parampara. There is a difference between orthodoxes and traditions. Traditions takes a lot of shape. They keep on purifying themselves with the passage of time, with meeting people. And you know that this Kumbh, what is Kumbh? All these seers, the great thinkers, join hands together, join minds together. And if there be any bad thing, impure things within tradition, that will be removed. And good things will keep on prevailing, because these traditions are very much important. Parampara means parat para. Par se bhi par means that is equal to Parameshwar. Parameshwar and Parampara both can be equated with each other. Orthodoxes are simply just to satisfy some vested interest of some few individuals. So orthodoxes die their own death. They are not. They don't have any long life for asset. Rituals are those basic activities. As I told you, when Garbhadhan is there, Konsuman is there, some rituals are to be performed. But rituals should have a scientific base as such, some logical base as such. If there is not logic behind any ritual, that will become orthodox, and that orthodox will die in its sooner. I'll give you one example. Pani Grahan is sanskar. Vivaha is a sanskar. Marriage is a sanskar in our tradition. Ritual is that there was a time when a lot of richnesses were shared by the parents of girls to the parents of boys in the name of dahej or dowry, like that. It does not have any scientific base as such. So it is dying day by day. Nowadays there is a parity, boys and girls. Boys also don't want any dowry, and girls also don't say that no, my parents won't share anything of their own richness of boys. So that ritual will die its own death. But Panigraha are being performed. There is a ritual of making pomp and show. So many shows like that. Good number of people coming from both the sides, having good party, shot, everything. That is not logical. Panigrahan marriages were ceremonized during COVID-19 period also. And sanskar is that, ritual is that, Saptapadi must be there. That is the most important logical ritual of the marriage. Yajna must be there. Boys and girls must perform yajna. So even during COVID-19, even the deep lockdown period, have there any marriage been performed in India, that too under the Hindu family? These two rituals were the essential component and others were compromised in a big way. This is how. Another ritual I would like to tell you. After when a person dies, we Hindus think that if suppose ashes of that is the body of thrown into the holy river of Ganges, is that his soul gets some satisfaction like that. You know, it was very difficult to get the body of a COVID patient. Our so many friends, parents died, friends also died. So I was receiving requests from my friends and friends, family members. You please tell me somebody who is in Haridwar can help me in just throwing ashes of my father or mother into holy Ganges. Then I was helping them out. So throwing ashes to holy Ganges is a real ritual. All bodies, irrespective of their rich, poor, or anything, were performed, were buried or burnt. Last ritual, were performed by the family members, and their ashes were also. And remaining thing, the Shugatra during so many persons coming, Trayodasi, so many persons coming, eating, and like those things could not happen. So here we'll have to connect ritual traditions through sanskaras. Aditya.
You said some very important points here, Professor. The about the how the each and every samskar is scientific, not just a ritual, not a blind ritual. Because if somebody wants to become a master's, he has to first pass 10th grade, then 12th grade, then complete graduation, then go for post graduation. In the normal academic circle also. But we miss such an important logic in our own life, developing a personal character for the soul also. Because for soul, sanskaras are very important. And that's why I call samskara as experience. That's for the reason, because you give good experiences continuously through these different traditional points. Now, coming to another question which comes to the mind is that people follow these samskara without understanding the purpose of it. Each and every sanskara has a purpose. Krishna did 64 and when he was here on the planet, but Manu and other, like you correctly said, is 16. For Manushya, for people like us who are much more simpler, or you can say ordinary. Now, what is the connection building a intellectual mind based on sanskara and a sanskara?
You see, intellectuals should develop a scientific temper of a Hindu way. They are developing their scientific, logical things as such in the Western way. For them, experimentation is essential. Some compounds are essential. Some lab is essential. Here, our mind is a lab. Our words, shastras, there is our own instruments, and we don't need anything exogenous to test the things as such. So our science is much bigger, much larger, much deeper than the science of today's materialistic world as such. One thing. You see, the intellectuals who just directly attack to the intellectuals. Intellectuals should own body, mind on their own, and then come out with some ideas without experimenting with themselves. If they keep on criticizing, it is not good, it is not good. I think it's bad. So better they should go for some experimentation. And here, as I told you, that yoga gives complete system. And I'll give you one example as such. When we perform asanas, you say the asana, nothing is. So somebody was telling that Pope of Rome said, no, it's a Hindu way, we must not perform yoga asana like that. In some mosque also, it is said it's a Hindu way of worshipping, we must not go for yoga like that. But there are certain studies, go for medical sciences, see that when we are performing Mandukasana, our insulin is being secreted from our pancreas. Simple. This is one example. Similarly, your pituitary glands secrete lot of positive chemicals. At Brahma Muhurt before the sunrise, as such, you get it experimented. So these are the scientifically proven things available with us. You'll have to accept them. And that too is a part of our sanskaras, that you should get up early in the morning, sleep early to the bed, eat sanskaras of the food. We should eat what should be eat, at what time, in what season, with what material, and with what posture. These are the different parts of those sanskaras. Ahar is an instinct. How that instinct is to be satisfied, either by purchasing this is a fast food, eating anytime, anywhere, drinking anytime, anywhere. This is not our sanskaras. Our sanskaras means food is essential for body, food is essential for our mind, food is essential for our soul also, because this soul is being, can be have by the body itself. To keep body intact, food is essential. With sanskaras means even the cooking sanskaras are there for cooking good food. The sanskaras of the cook as a mother or any person, that too is essential for good food. People say that jaisa khao an, vaisa bane man. How to produce food, how to produce crops. The crops with the help of these chemical fertilizers or our organic fertilizers or the natural fertilizers, everything has got its own. So intellectuals will have to be convinced in the scientific manner, in the language which they understand. If we are teaching them in other language which they don't understand, I think they will retaliate and they will not be able to grasp the full powers of sanskara. Another meaning of sanskara, Aditya, that's simple quoting. Quoting, comes from previous births also, and to decode is the process of process of purification. I wrote one couplet in my Arun Satsai. पूर्व जन्म और पूर्वजों से मिलते संस्कार. पूर्वजन, our previous births, and purvaj means our ancestors. Our body is a combination of both. Our parents give the body and soul takes its own way. पूर्वजन और पूर्वजों से मिलते संस्कार, जिनसे बनती प्रकृति जो करवाती व्यवहार. Our behavior depends upon nature. Nature depends on sanskars. Sanskar has two different pools. One a pool of your own previous births, another pool comes from your ancestors. This is how we can explain the things. Aditya.
You touched upon many important points here. One of the things which comes forward is the scholarly consensus, which is the euphemistic term for rejecting logic and reasoning. Nowadays, I was quoting in some other talk show that engineers are writing about history more than historians writing about correcting the history, because historians are busy about scholarly consensus. If the 5 scholars, they agree on one term, and so that's become the norm or the new level of entry for the new people who are outside the system. And this is where I'm talking about the academic circles mostly. Now, in case of samskara, also, the scholarly consensus has to be built in the Indian university system, so that they can start talking to the, earlier it used to happen, then a degree from Oxford or Cambridge used to be considered something very big. But the point
Yes.
now is these people have become ultra leftist and to a large extent anti-Hindu in a big way. Now it is the turn of the Indian universities to come on the global level, where they say that sanskar is scientific and scholarly consensus built on sanskar is considered more important. And I'm not even talking about smartvad. Smartvad is definitely fundamentalism, which we are not interested in. We are interested in a scientific realization, like you said earlier, based culture. So what do you speak to those people who advocate scholarly consensus as a means for not entering the sanskar based talks in the educational curriculums?
No, actually, when you're talking about sanskars now, then you'll have to work hard. You'll have to sacrifice your instinctual pleasures. You'll have to uh, go for so many, you see, things which which doesn't suit your mind. Because here today, the world wants to just go for instinct, go for casual, go for easy life, go for successes overnight, obtaining success overnight. They don't want to confront any type of uneasiness like that. I'll give an example. So our sanskaras say that you should get up early in the morning. And in early morning, everybody know that we get very good sleep at the early morning. So sacrificing a good sleep at the early morning, nobody is prepared to do. Only those persons who want to obtain something in their lives, they would get up early morning, they go for yogasana, pranayama, anything. So it's very simple thing that if you want to have an easy life of eating, drinking, be marry as such, or want to become success on the axiom that nothing succeeds like a success, then it's okay, go ahead with your life. But that life is not sustainable. That life is not integrated one. That will create a lot of problems, a lot of disintegration. You cannot go for deep thinking. You cannot create, any good literature. You cannot be a good scientist as such. For the sake of earning, you can earn, a lot of richnesses, that is well and good. But in society, you won't have a good place as such. Aditya, but one thing I would like to see mind. This idea has come to me just now. Here in India, culture and civilization both go together. Person who is cultured is bound to be civilized. This dichotomy has been beautifully deliberately strategy with a matter of conspiracy has been created that we want a civilized person who are prima facie good looking, pant, suit, shirt, speaking English and what not, shaking hands, saying good morning, goodbye, transparently, everything doing. They are civilized persons. They are civilized manner. We are in the civic society also. They may not be cultured, but when they come to a club or to a school or in a society, they behave very proper. So this dichotomy of club behavior and total behavior, whether you're in the club, in the school, in the college, or not in the school, club, or college, you are good everywhere. That is culture. It does not mean that when you are entering into a classroom, you are saying good morning, sir. And when you're meeting your sir on the street, you don't say that good morning, sir. Here in India, a student is student, teacher is teacher. A student in the classroom is a student, and outside the classroom is a student, and everywhere is a student. Throughout the life is a student, and throughout life is a teacher. This is our culture. So the modern, you see, education, the modernity rather, the Western philosophy, it teaches people to become civilized, and India teaches person to be cultured. If you are cultured, civilization will automatically come. If you are civilized, it may or may not culture come into Aditya.
Yeah, very important points you made, because the generally the show of scholarliness doesn't translate into a culture. A personal culture may be totally different. People write books, but they may be not following what they have written, and which is a big problem today. And when it comes to traditions also, which you mentioned very clearly, they are an important part of our samskara. And you also mentioned right now that sanskar leads to sanskriti, because sanskriti means civilization. And also the English word culture is very shallow. If you look at the culture, you even said chemical cultures, enzyme
Yes.
cultures, which is a very different. Their culture meaning is a sample. The little meaning is a sample. But
Yeah.
we are not talking
Yeah.
about sample here. We are talking about a personal change towards good habits, and which it doesn't need to be a Hindu. Anyone can follow these samskara and start following a Vedic thought process. It's very easy. So the world is in need for such kind of scholars who practice what they preach, like an acharya. Like you mentioned, you also said very clearly, everyone is a student as well as a teacher. Yet they're acharati shreshthas. So when they behave according to their educational standards, they become a teacher. There's a very famous saying that you preach all the time but speak once, little bit. So
Yeah.
because your behavior is a larger barometer of who you are than what words you speak. There is no example of Vyasdev giving pravachans or everywhere else. He spoke to a selected audience, but his example was great. His personal example was great. And you can look out the sons he produced, Shukdev Goswami, his disciples like Vaishampayan and other disciples. So how important is a behavior in a uh, uh, in a person who follows samskara?
Uh, uh, Aditya put a very difficult question as such. The behavior is the litmus test of all sanskaras. We have all good sanskaras within. When we are just interacting with our family members or society as such, you are not to see good to them, then what hell you are having sanskaras with you? It is better to have not to have sanskaras and have good behavior with the people outside. So behavior has a behavior to yourself and behavior to outside persons. Outside may be your family members, your wife, your husband, your boys, girls, our society by and laws of different caste, creed, and color, your environment, your apana, everything. So if your soul is sanskaric, if your body is sanskaric, isn't it? There may be limit. If your mind is sanskaric, your limits may be expanded. You may not be that limited as body is limited because body is made of matter only. Matter has got is more finite to see life as such. When your mind is sanskaric, rather cultured, those limits can be crossed and some area will be bigger as such. But when your soul is sanskari, that your entire universe is yours. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is not the part of any intellect. It is not the part of any body. It's just an indicator of that ultimate purified soul, which thinks that entire world, entire earth, planet, entire universe is my family. So this is how we'll have to deal with the things. Behavior must be good. And in India, so in our rishis have done a lot of work. Behavior of what? It's not only behavior of the individual person. How one should speak? Satyam bruyat cha priyam bruyat nahi bruyat satyam apriyam priyam cha nanratam bruyat esha dharma sanatana. This is the behavior of your language. You should speak truth, but at the same time, it should be lovely, it should be pleasing. You are not supposed to speak anything which is truth, but at the same time it's unpleasant. At the same time, you are not supposed to speak pleasant, which is false. See the litmus test of tongue itself, or words itself. So everything of all senses also have been certain behavioral riders which have been made deliberately. Actually, when I was telling you about 16 sanskara, they control. These are the sanskars only which control our behavior and make ourselves culturally able to be living in this society. This is how I can just.
One of the things which is very prominent now, which also comes to the mind in this discussion, is samskara makes you intellectual, makes your behavior, makes you actually a very intelligent and socially reformed person. And generally we have seen, the more people are educated in their samskara, they are more reasonable, they are more, generally I always say that you should be hard on yourself but soft on others. Don't judge others, but you should follow what you stand for.
Yes. Yes.
And that's how it makes you more respectable. You earn respect, you earn the you earn the respect of others, and you also earn a reputation. What do you have to say on that? And with that we'll close.
Actually, if you want to make impact, then you yourself say that your total behavior should speak, not to receive words. And manifest through your behavior more, then only you will be effective. And you yourself going to quote that is the full shloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yadada charati shrestha. Shrestha. Shrestha has not been explained by Krishna. Shreshthas are those whose manasa, vacha, karmana are same. Or whose thinking, whose speech and behavior are the same, totally integrated. Dura shrestha. Yadada charati shrestha tat tat devetaro jana sayat pramanam kurte lokas tat anuvartate. And Sreshta person are setting those milestones. प्रमाण करते हैं, प्रमाण स्वरूप स्थापित करते हैं. Oh, here is the Aditya Satsangji who has established Sattology, debunking mythology. It's a praman. Now there is a chain of so many persons who are joining your hands. You have become Sreshta. As you will behave, people will try to behave on those lines. And in our society, we are having so many good examples. And of this today's century, in last century, previous century, I think we cannot have any other person in the social life that is Gandhi. Gandhi was one who behaved in the same manner as he thought. He spoke in the manner he spoke. And you all know that story of Gur, which I don't want to repeat at this moment, because I think the show is going to be close. Aditya.
We'll do a part 2 on this one. It's a very interesting topic.
No, it's a very interesting topic.
And
but only submission of my friends who are listening to me. We should try to go for sanskaras. Sanskara means try to purify yourself with the help of scriptures, with the help of gurus, You should keep on introspecting yourself, keep on introspecting before doing anything, whether that appeals to you. If that doesn't appeal to you, please do not seek the help with others. That is the litmus test. This not me. This Padma Purana says at the end of all the lakshanas of dharma, Shuyatam dharma sarvasam, Shuyatam dharma sarvasam, Shuyatam api dharitam. It is not merely listening. You'll have to behave also. You'll have to observe all these things. Shuyatam api dharitam. Atmanah pratikulanam paresham na samantere. Atmanah pratikulanam paresham na samantere.
So,
Okay, Aditya?
Shruti Smriti is a very important basis of samskara.
Yes.
So you can learn what is karya, what is akarya, and that's
Yes.
how what is to be done, what is not to be done, and that's how the samskaras play an important role. So rejecting Shruti Smriti only creates utpat, and that is what is happening today and everywhere else, because we have created so much utpat by giving our personal commentaries. So like Professor, you have said it, first you become a good student, then you automatically become a good teacher. You don't have to try to become a teacher. If you're a good student, is always a good teacher. So thank you so much, setting a great example yourself with your personal behavior.
Dhanyavad. Thank you very much, Aditya. It is always a pleasure to be with you and share this show.
Namaste all, and thank you.
Namaste.